welcome, everyone. Happy Thursday. I am Jamie Collins, psychic medium and host here of the Spirit Speaker podcast. And I I want to thank you all that have tuned in to previous episodes. I really appreciate it. As I said earlier in the intro or the first episode, I wasn't quite sure what the podcast was going to look like. I was going to have fun with it, at least for the first 3 to 6 months. And I know we've hit on mediumship quite a bit in the first few episodes. So tonight, I thought I'd lighten it up a little bit and we would have some fun. And so one of the things that I really enjoy besides sports, I think I've talked to y'all about how I love sports and I'm a sports fanatic, and it's the NBA playoffs. So I don't go to bed at night at a decent time because I'm up watching the NBA playoffs. So I'm a sports fanatic, and especially basketball, as I used to play basketball in my much younger years, coached basketball, and so yes, so this is I've been staying up, not getting a lot of sleep because I love the NBA playoffs. The WNBA is getting ready to start, so um, that's me. But the other thing that I really love are movies, and who doesn't love a good movie? So I thought tonight that I would give you some of my favorite movies that have a spiritual tone to them, whether it be mediumship, whether it be reincarnation. But I'm just going to kind of give you some movies that I've enjoyed. And all the movies, I will preface this by saying that all the movies I am going to talk about tonight, I have seen these movies. I've watched these movies. Now, some it may have been some years since I watched the movie, but these are movies that I have enjoyed and have had on DVD, rewatch them when they come on TV. So I'd love to get your feedback. Maybe there's a movie that I haven't seen or have heard of that you would like to let me know that maybe I should watch. So this is what I'm going to do tonight. We're going to have fun, keep it light, grab a pen, paper, write these down, press pause. These are mine. And just also to have fun, I'm going to give them my ratings, and it's not popcorn, it's not stars. What would be a good spiritual symbol that I could use for my likes and dislikes? I decided on the lotus. Yeah, I decided on the lotus. Lotus, whenever we see the lotus flower, it's very spiritual. And so I thought, heck, why not? So a movie may get 5 lotuses, 4 lotuses, no lotuses, but these are movies that I really enjoyed and have watched over the years. So I'm going to put my readers on, y'all, because you know I'm blind. I'm an old woman. I can't see. But I'm going to start out with my favorite movies in no particular order. These don't have any particular order. My favorite movies that deal with mediumship or have at least at some point some mediumship in that. All right. So, of course, I bet everyone can kind of guess the first one that was kind of mediumship, and that's Sixth Sense, The Sixth Sense. The Bruce Willis movie from years ago. I can't remember how many years ago. Y'all don't test me, but Sixth Sense. And maybe not mediumship in a way where someone is contacting those that have crossed over, but the little boy in the movie saw dead people. So I thought of that. Now, how many people haven't seen Sixth Sense? I think anybody, especially if you're watching this podcast or have an interest in spiritual stuff, different things in spirituality, you've seen Sixth Sense. I won't ruin it for anyone who has not seen Sixth Sense. And if you have not, you've got to watch it. It's by a director, producer, M. Night Shyamalan. And I'm a huge M. Night Shyamalan fan, but Sixth Sense is one of those where the little boy saw dead people. And not to give it away, but watch that movie and see how he talks about seeing dead people, speaking with dead people. And actually, it's the movie that put the director M. Night Shyamalan on the map. He really was an unknown in Hollywood. I believe Sixth Sense was his first movie, and it's one of my all-time favorites. If it's ever on TV or I get an itching to watch it on DVD, I'll watch it. So, Sixth Sense. The next one after The Sixth Sense is a movie called Hereafter. Now, I don't know how many people have heard of this movie. I'm not sure what it did at the box office, to be honest. I didn't even look any of that stuff up. But it's a movie starring Matt Damon. And Matt Damon is a medium in this movie, begrudgingly. I don't think he really wanted to be a medium or thought much about mediumship, thought it was more of a bother. But it was really one of those movies that I enjoyed, The Hereafter with Matt Damon. It may be 10 years old or so. I can't remember exactly. Time gets away from me. But Hereafter with Matt Damon is one of my favorites. Another one that I enjoyed with Kevin Bacon, it's a little bit older as well, Stir of Echoes. Now, why did I call that? Some people might call that a horror movie, a thriller movie, but it was a little bit of mediumship. The son of Kevin Bacon in the movie talks to a ghost in this house that the family lives in. And so the son is communicating with ghosts, or as I like to say, spirits, and not call them ghosts. The son is talking to a ghost, and then dad decides to get hypnotized, and then he begins to see strange things, ghost spirits in this house. So that's a pretty good one too. That was a well-received movie. It came out around the same time as Sixth Sense did. And a lot of people believe that Stir of Echoes didn't get the accolades, the publicity that Sixth Sense did because they came out at the same time and people just raved about Sixth Sense. And so Stir of Echoes is one of those. I'm a Kevin Bacon fan. I loved him in this movie. And so that may be one of those movies that you would enjoy as well. Again, an oldie but a goodie. I'd be curious what you thought. Another movie that deals with mediumship is a movie called Personal Shopper. Personal Shopper, and it stars Kristen Stewart, the Kristen Stewart of the vampire fame, Twilight. Kristen Stewart. And in that, she hears spirit, can communicate with spirit, wants to communicate with a brother. And again, I don't want to give away too much of these movies. I don't want to ruin it for you. Not a very well-known movie. A lot of people have not heard of Personal Shopper. So that was a Kristen Stewart movie about mediumship that I think people will enjoy. Now, the next two movies that I'm going to talk about under the umbrella of mediumship aren't really mediumship, but they're kind of what I would call psychic, deal with psychic, and one is called The Gift. The Gift. And I should have written this down, but I can't remember the actress, but I want to say Kate Blanchett, I believe is in this movie, the star of this movie, and she is a psychic. And there's a murder in this town, this community that she lives in, and she's asked to help out. So it wasn't maybe mediumship; she was communicating with dead, but she had visions, premonitions. And so this is a movie that I've always enjoyed as well. It's again 15, 20 years old, but it's a really well done movie that I think folks will enjoy. Another movie that kind of is on that psychic level is a movie called Dead Zone. Dead Zone with actor Christopher Walken. And this is one of my all-time favorites. If I remember correctly, y'all can correct me, comment if I'm wrong. But I think this movie was a Stephen King book turned into a movie, Dead Zone. And this gentleman, Christopher Walken, the actor in the movie, is in a car accident. And after this car accident, he begins to have these visions, premonitions. And Martin Sheen is in this movie. This is an excellent film. It's one of my favorites. Every movie that I have mentioned thus far is, in my opinion, a Five Lotus movie. It's one of those that I think if you enjoy those types of movies, I don't think you could go wrong with any of those movies. It's just that The Gift and Dead Zone are more on that psychic level than they are on mediumship. But in that same realm of keeping with mediumship, I'm going to mention two television shows that were mediumship, not movies, but they were mediumship. And one is Ghost Whisperer, the TV show Ghost Whisperer with Jennifer Love Hewitt. That was a TV show produced, original idea by James Van Praagh, the well-known, famous medium. And Jennifer Love Hewitt in this movie plays a medium helping people out. And it was on for 6 or 7 years. It really had a great run. And I don't know if it's on TV anymore. It used to be even in rerun stage, but I have not seen it in a while. But I love Ghost Whisperer. I tuned into it all the time. And another TV show besides Ghost Whisperer is Medium, with about Alison Dubois, a medium in Arizona and works for the district attorney's office, and she helps solve cases. And that was another show that was excellent. It was phenomenal. Again, I believed it stayed on for 7 seasons. And Alison Dubois, in real life, is a well-known medium. She has her own podcast. So that may be some TV shows. And as I look at my notes, I forgot, how could I forget one of probably the all-time medium movies is Ghost. Whoopi Goldberg and Patrick Swayze, and Whoopi plays a medium. Y'all would have probably bombarded my comment section had I not mentioned Ghost. So again, who hasn't seen the movie Ghost? But so those, in my opinion, again, I give Ghost Whisperer, I give Medium, I give Ghost. Those are my 5 lotuses. Let me know what you think, if you'd give them 5 lotuses. But those are probably the one that maybe I'd give 4 to if y'all really nudged me, was Hereafter. But again, I loved it. Hollywood doesn't make a lot of these types of movies. So to me, it's really fun when you do get those television shows or movies about those topics, because we don't get it a lot. All right. So hopefully that'll at least get you started. The Sixth Sense, The Hereafter, Stir of Echoes, Personal Shopper, Ghost, The Gift, Dead Zone, and then the television shows Ghost Whisperer and Medium. Those really all to me fall under the guise of mediumship. I can't think of any others. In fact, when I Googled, movies and mediumship, it's surprising. There really aren't that many. I'm sure I may have forgotten one or two, but kind of my criteria for picking that under mediumship was it had to be talking to those that have crossed, those that have transitioned. And even though The Gift and Dead Zone aren't talking to people, it was more what I would call psychic, where they'd have premonitions, clairvoyant. All right. So on to the next category that I thought would be kind of interesting is reincarnation. Obviously, I'm a believer in reincarnation. I believe we have more than one life. My understanding from everything that I've ever read and heard about reincarnation, in the eastern part of the world, it's just kind of a matter of fact. It's they don't even think about it. In Eastern cultures, reincarnation is it's one of those things that's talked about and discussed for centuries and centuries, and they believe it's here in the West. A lot of people may not believe in it, depending on your background, your belief system. You may not believe in reincarnation. I'm a believer in reincarnation. I'm a believer that I've had more than one life. I have had different experiences in my life that have made me think that I've lived more than one life. And just a little side note, I won't go into a lot of detail about it. I don't want to bore y'all about it. But for many, many years, I had dreams about tornadoes. I was deathly afraid. Even as a teenager, my brother still tells a story to this day. We were driving somewhere. We were up around the St. Joseph, Missouri area. And we were in the car and we heard that a tornado had touched down near KCI, the airport. And I'm driving and looking out the window, and I think I scared my brother to death, because instead of focusing on the road and all that, I'm looking out the windows, looking up at the sky, because tornadoes. And it was just kind of one of those things where it's unnatural. I know people are afraid of tornadoes, but I always kind of had this unnatural fear of tornadoes. And I used to have dreams about them all the time. Like, not 3 or 4 dreams about tornadoes. I'm talking 10, 12, 15 dreams about tornadoes. And they were always, the dreams progressively got worse and worse, meaning that at the first time I'd have a dream about a tornado, the tornado would be very far away. I'd be looking out the window in my dream and it was far away. And each dream I had, incrementally, the tornado would get closer and closer and closer. I have dreams of being in the basement and the tornadoes around the house, and I'm horizontal. I'm hanging on to something in a tornado. And then I had a dream where I got sucked up into a tornado and was dropped down in a barn. But what was interesting about this dream is when I got dropped down in the barn, in the bundle of hay or whatever it was in this barn, I was an elderly gentleman in overalls. I was a white male. And it was after that dream that I thought, okay, maybe this isn't a dream. Maybe I'm having a past life experience. Maybe in one of my past lives, I've been in a tornado. And so I've always been fascinated by tornadoes. Nature is amazing. Uh, but I've had an unnatural fear of them. And I think part of that is possibly because I had a previous life where I was in a tornado. Y'all can call me crazy. No, I haven't had anything to drink, but maybe you can call me crazy, but that's really what I thought. And I would look up in books, dream interpretation books, what they said about tornadoes, and oh, you're having trouble in relationships, and it means this. And it was like, no, none of that fit. So again, I don't know. I believe in reincarnation. I believe the soul has more than one life. I feel like it's like chapters in a book. This life that I'm in now as Jamie is just one chapter in the book of my soul, having many lives. I believe we have many different experiences. I believe for the soul to grow and to evolve, it has to have many experiences. How many? Who knows? I don't know. That would be purely speculation. But I do believe that we've had many lives. And so that's my reincarnation story about tornadoes. So if there's ever tornado warnings, I get hype. My spidey senses, I lose it. I lose it. I don't like them at all. I could never be a storm chaser. Those folks to me are absolutely nuts to go chasing those things. I can watch television shows about them and be fascinated and all of that, but I absolutely don't want anything to do with tornadoes. So anyway, I digress talking about that, but at least I thought I'd give you a little bit about why or about reincarnation. So I've just got a few movies about reincarnation. One of the ones that I think is one of the best is Cloud Atlas. And I believe Halle Berry's in there, Tom Hanks is in there, and it follows this couple or other people over centuries, different lives that they have. It's a movie, Cloud Atlas, in my opinion, that you really have to pay attention to because it's one of those you might want to watch 2 or 3 times because you're like, what? You can't be getting up using the bathroom and going to grab something to eat. You might, unless you're going to pause it. It's one of those that's really deep. It's really deep, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching Halle. I believe it's Halle and Tom Hanks in different times so they might have gone back hundreds of years ago to present time to the 40s. I loved it. In fact, I really want to watch it again. And it was a book. I did not read the book, but I did hear that the book was good. So I would give Cloud Atlas 4 lotuses. Why not 5? Well, heck, whenever time you have to watch something more than one time to kind of get it, it might not be 5 lotuses, but for me, I loved it. A lot of people were confused by it, but maybe it's my fascination with reincarnation that made me enjoy the movie. Another reincarnation movie called the letter I Origins. I Origins is another movie about reincarnation. It's about this doctor, this scientist who's studying the human eye. And I don't want to give too much away, but it comes to be about something with the eyes, ties it to reincarnation. I think it's worth a watch. I definitely would give it like 4 lotuses. I loved it. And the next one is a movie called Past Lives. Past Lives. Now, this is a more recent movie. I think it's just been out, I want to say 2-3 years. I saw it. I can't remember if it was at the theater. I saw it on Apple TV. And I really enjoyed it about this man and woman in past lives, and had they known each other in past lives, and then it took place in present time. So that's a movie that you may enjoy about reincarnation, past lives. Now, this one, I can't even believe y'all are going to laugh at me, but don't laugh at me. Okay, don't laugh at me. But this is one time how I ran across this movie, because this is not a movie that I would watch. But I remember this. It was one weekend and I was on the couch and I was just kind of channel surfing. I wasn't looking for anything in particular, and I saw this movie called A Dog's Purpose. And it came out, I believe, in 17, 18, somewhere around in there. So it's somewhat recent. Stars Dennis Quaid, and it's about this dog named Bailey, and kind of shows this dog different lives, and is kind of in each life looking for his purpose with these humans. And I thought, okay, why I left it on this channel, y'all, I will never know. I will never know. But oh my God, it was so good. It's called A Dog's Purpose. And then a couple years later, they made another movie about that same story called A Dog's Journey. And this dog is named Bailey, and he has these lives, different lives. And when I tell you, if you're an animal lover, you're going to absolutely love it. It's a tear jerker, but this dog who has many lives. But I thought the acting was good. I thought it was well written. And never in a million years, if anybody had told me to watch this movie, would I have watched it. Now, maybe if they had told me it was about reincarnation, since I'm fascinated by reincarnation, I would have watched it. But oh my gosh, I absolutely loved it. It gets 5 lotuses. I absolutely positively love it. So if you ever are bored and just want to see what Jamie is talking about, or has she lost her marbles, check out A Dog's Purpose, A Dog's Journey. Tell me what you think about it, if I'm crazy, if it's good. But it was really good around that theme of reincarnation, because if you think about it, can animals reincarnate? Can your pets? And I've read stories and heard stories from clients, people I know, that say, I know this is my dog. I know this is my dog, just come back to me in another another life. So I've heard that again. And if we as human souls can reincarnate, I think it's very possible that our animals would want to reincarnate with us as well. So I'm a big believer in that. So this movie, I don't believe you'll be disappointed. So those are the movies for reincarnation, about reincarnation. Cloud Atlas, and like I said, I give it 4 lotuses. I'd give it 5. It's just that I probably need to go back and watch it again. It's been a while since I've seen it. I Origins, the letter I in Origins, Past Lives, more recent, and A Dog's Purpose, A Dog's Journey. If there are any more out there about reincarnation, I did Google it just to see if there's anything else out there. But again, I wanted these to be movies that I had seen personally. I didn't want to give you movies that I hadn't seen. So just so that's kind of a little note that that's the reason. My next little category that I went after was movies that reflect or give us views of the afterlife. Their views of the afterlife, heaven, the spirit world, whatever it is that you would like to call it, that place where souls go when we leave the physical body. And everybody has their own beliefs and so forth about what you call it or where you go after the soul leaves the physical body. For me, it's really all the same. So one of the ones that people will have probably heard that got some controversy, What Dreams May Come. What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. Kind of a look of what eternity looks like. Now, a lot of people didn't like the movie, the theme of the movie. Robin Williams dies in a car accident. and when he crosses over, he's kind of guided in the afterlife by his spirit guide, who is Cuba Gooding Jr., the actor Cuba Gooding Jr. And it might be one of those movies you want to watch a couple times yourself. It had some controversy, if I remember correctly. Y'all can correct me. It may have had something to do with suicide. Some people said it could be a little dark, but I liked it. It's one of those movies that make you go, hmm. And I think any movie about the afterlife will do that. We all just kind of speculate about what the afterlife is like or heaven is like, uh, based on our beliefs, our background. We have that. The only people that I've ever heard describe the afterlife that's somewhat similar is folks who have had NDEs or near death experiences. Um, they all, plus or minus a little bit, some differences, all come back with kind of the same views about the afterlife or heaven, again, whatever you want to call it. But What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams, I give it 4 lotuses, kind of like I do Cloud Atlas. It's one of those movies you may want to watch a couple of times. And again, if the theme of death by suicide or anything like that triggers you, it might be one of those movies that you would not want to watch. So I just want to give that up front to you if you're kind of disturbed or about that or had those experiences in your life. You may not want to watch What Dreams May Come, but I enjoyed it. I am a Robin Williams fan, and I thought he did a fantastic job. I thought Cuba Gooding Jr. as a spirit guide was really good. So again, I'll leave it up to you. Another movie about the afterlife is called Astral City, a spiritual journey. And this is a movie, it's Brazilian. It is based off a book. And it's about a deceased doctor who's taken out of purgatory and then kind of taken out of purgatory, goes to the afterlife, and really discovers the real meaning of life. I was fascinated by the book. I can't remember the movie. It may be subtitles, if I'm correct. It may have been Brazil. I think they speak mostly Portuguese. It may have been in Portuguese. I enjoyed the book a lot. The movie visually, I thought was good. It could be a little disturbing as well. When they showed the doctor in purgatory, it was a little, I don't know what that was. It could be a little disturbing. But I just say if you go with an open mind, again, it would just be one of those that the way it's depicted in purgatory, or if you believe in purgatory, it could be viewed as a little disturbing. But I enjoyed it. And I read the book first and I really enjoyed it. So that's just me though. Another movie about the afterlife is a movie called Defending Your Life. Now, this is an old movie. Now, old, what do I mean? 80s, maybe? I can't remember, but it stars the comedian Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep. Are two actresses in this movie, Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep, called Defending Your Life. And it's about Albert Brooks goes to heaven, but he makes a stop in limbo and he meets Meryl Streep. And he is kind of waiting to be judged whether his life on earth mattered. And it was really well done. And especially back in the time that the movie came out, I may have seen this movie 20 years ago, maybe for the first time. And the way I heard about it, I read about it, someone mentioned it. It was not a movie I saw at the theater or anything like that. This was a movie that someone had mentioned. And so I decided to take a look at it. I absolutely enjoyed it. And Albert Brooks is funny. Yes, I know he's an older comedian, but it has some really funny lines. You don't take it too seriously. But it's one of those movies that give you pause. It gives you pause, and I really enjoyed it. So Astral City, again, because if you don't like to read subtitles, y'all, you might not want to watch it. If you understand Portuguese, you might get something out of it. I give it 4 lotuses. I give Defending Your Life 5. I really enjoyed it. It was a great movie to me. So those are just a few movies that depict the afterlife. And if the afterlife or what the other side is like kind of interests you, you may want to read or YouTube about people who have had NDEs. And actually, it's one of the things I really enjoy. And I hopefully one day on this podcast, I'd like to get a couple folks who've had NDEs. I really think it's a fascinating topic, but that's one of those topics I'd like to cover in this podcast. It's really interesting. My next headline or bold or topic that I wanted. So I've had mediumship movies, reincarnation movies, movies about the afterlife. And these next movies I just put under spiritual, kind of those movies that give you pause, make you think, is where I put these movies. Now, one of my all-time favorite movies is a movie called Sliding Doors. Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow. And this isn't mediumship or psychic. It's more about choices and fate. If you're one of those people that like to talk about fate and destiny, and so Sliding Doors is about this woman, Gwyneth Paltrow, and it kind of takes place in two parts. One part, she catches the subway or the train. I'm going to call it subway. But in one part of the movie, she catches the subway. And on the other part, she doesn't catch the subway. She misses her subway. So this is a movie, and what it is she finds out her boyfriend is cheating on her. But it's really about fate and destiny, how our choices, how just one little thing can change our lives, and how life is to work out. And Sliding Doors, I tell people all the time, it's just in general one of my top 10 favorite movies of all times. It's like 5 lotuses, 5 lotuses. I love Sliding Doors, and anytime I can get a chance to watch it, I love it. It's just how little inconsequential choices make. And I'm sure we've all experienced that in our lives, that today you decide to drive a different way home from work, or you make this decision or that decision. And so it's really about sometimes not even our choices we make consciously, just things that happen and why do they happen? And kind of in this movie, Sliding Doors, where she catches the subway in one part and the other side of it. And so the movie takes you through both parts. The one scene where she's caught the subway, and it takes you back and forth when she doesn't catch the subway. So I love this because it just kind of gave me thought about life. I loved it. I really believe you'll enjoy this movie. Not that I'm a big Gwyneth Paltrow fan; she's okay, but I just like the idea of the movie. And for me, it's 5 lotuses. Absolutely. The next movie is Dragonfly with Kevin Costner. I absolutely love this movie. He plays a doctor in the movie, and his wife dies, and he's just grieving. And there's all kinds of little synchronistic happenings going on in his life, and it's absolutely one of my favorite. In fact, true story. About 2 months ago, I don't know what made me think of this movie. Maybe I saw Kevin Costner on TV, and it's one of my favorite movies by him. And I went online to see where I could stream it, and you can't find it anywhere. So whether it's due to studios or whatever it is, I don't know how all that works in Hollywood. You cannot stream Dragonfly. So unless someone has it on DVD, it's really a movie that you can't find. But it's absolutely one of my favorites, with Kevin Costner. And again, his wife dies, and he gets all of these. She dies in a bus crash in another country, and he goes to seek and look for her, and it's just phenomenal. Loved it. Another movie that has kind of some spiritual undertones that I enjoyed was The Green Mile. Tom Hanks is in this. I think Michael Duncan Clark is in this. And Michael Duncan Clark has some healing abilities, and absolutely loved it. The Green Mile. It's one of my favorites as well. So it's, again, I believe, if I'm right, that's a Stephen King book that was turned into a movie as well. The next one is The Butterfly Effect. The Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher. I believe he gets hit on the head, or he has these dreams. Absolutely. I know a lot of people have seen The Butterfly Effect. He goes back in time and tries to change some things. I'm a big time travel person as well. I love when they kind of go back in time and try to change some things or make things better. But The Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher, it's again about 4 lotuses, Green Mile, 5 lotuses, Dragonfly, 5 lotuses. These are all, in my opinion, phenomenal. Now, I haven't seen this next one in a while, but it's called Donnie Darko with, I knew I was going to do that. I believe it's Jake Gyllenhaal, if I remember correctly. This is a movie that explores free will, destiny, and consequences of choices. So this is another really phenomenal movie that I haven't seen in a while, and it makes me want to pull that one out since I haven't seen it in a while. But I loved Donnie Darko. And just a couple more. Another movie that kind of blew my mind, not really spiritual, but kind of maybe in that Sixth Sense kind of realm, is a movie called The Others. The Others with Nicole Kidman. And it takes place, I believe, during World War II. And she lives in this big mansion, this big house. And I'm not going to spoil it. If anyone has not seen it, please don't spoil it for folks. But it was a phenomenal movie that I loved. I am a Nicole Kidman fan, and I really enjoyed The Others. So that's another movie that you may enjoy. And then just a couple others. There's a movie called Conversations with God, a movie. It's based on the books by Neale Donald Walsch. And not to get off on another subject, Conversations with God, the big series of books by Neale Donald Walsch, changed my life. That may be extreme, but changed the way I think about things. I'll do that. And Neale Donald Walsch, it's true. It's not a movie. It's not made up. The books, I should say, is about a gentleman who had a conversation with God and states that we have God all wrong. So it was a series of books that I just absolutely loved, and they did turn it into a movie. I haven't seen the movie in quite some time, but the series of books are phenomenal. Anything that Neale Donald Walsch writes, I want to read it. He's amazing to me. I would even love to have him on the podcast. My gosh, that would be a dream. I love Neil Donald Walsch. And then lastly, a movie called The Shift by Wayne Dyer, kind of about life and decisions. Wayne Dyer, a spiritual leader and who's now in spirit, wrote a book called The Shift, and they made it into a movie. And I love The Shift. Every couple years, I like to pull it out and watch it. So that's my list. Spiritual Sliding Doors, Dragonfly, The Green Mile, The Butterfly Effect, Donnie Darko, The Others, Conversations with God, and The Shift. And then the last thing I'm going to say, one television show that a gentleman that I'm a huge fan of, that I truly believe was ahead of his time, was Rod Serling of The Twilight Zone. I'm talking about the black and white Twilight Zone from the 60s. You know, they used to come on the Sci-Fi Channel twice a year, every July 4th and Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, the Twilight Zone. And I truly believe, and Rod Serling in the Twilight Zone dealt with a lot of those things, death, the Twilight Zone, these supernatural things that were happening. And every time I watch Twilight Zone, I'm like, geez, this guy was ahead of his time. He was ahead of his time talking about things that now are very common in our society now. But I love anytime you get to watch an episode of The Twilight Zone, I say watch it. I'm still addicted to it. Every couple times a year it comes on, I sit down and watch episodes. And then the last thing I wanted to tell people about before I sign off is if you've ever heard of Gaia, Gaia, Gaia.com. It's to me the Netflix of spiritual stuff. Like, I don't care what you're into. I don't care what you're into in the spiritual, metaphysical, paranoid. I don't know, whatever word you choose to call. I love Gaia. And it is the Netflix of spiritual stuff. If you're into Akashic Records, mediumship, UFOs, I can't even think of all the topics, healing, all of those things. I have a membership. And sometimes if I'm bored and I don't want to read nothing on television, I'll just pull up my Gaia app and pick a topic. I love Gaia TV. There's literally hundreds upon hundreds of different shows that you can watch. One of my favorite shows is a guy named George Noory, who's pretty popular. He has Beyond Belief, and he interviews people from the spiritual community, metaphysical community, and he's been doing it for years and years and years. And so Gaia is one of those. If you're looking for something different, check Gaia out. Gaia is the spiritual network, like a Netflix. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. Please don't be afraid to give me some of your thoughts on these movies if you've seen them. If there's something I didn't think of, a movie, a television show that I didn't think of, please let me know, because I love that stuff. I love to watch that. And I'm sure I've left some off. Just like earlier, I was thinking of another Matt Damon movie, but I can't think of the title of it, y'all. But it was great, about choices and all of these different things. So I appreciate you tuning in. Let me know in the feedback what you thought of this. Please go over to my YouTube channel at Spirit Speaker KC. I am also on Spotify. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If there's ever someone you'd like to have, or a topic that you would like for me to discuss, someone to interview, let me know. As I said, this is kind of a hodgepodge of things, unless I hear otherwise, but I kind of want it to have a variety so we don't get too bored with the same thing. And I did this on movies, and maybe in the future, I'll do some on my favorite spiritual books. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and I appreciate you.